The sky above Vera 9 was always strange. Purple clouds moved like slow waves and the air shimmered with a faint golden glow. Inside the human research outpost, life was normal, or at least it was supposed to be. Engineer Ethan Cole wiped the sweat from his forehead as he crouched beside a broken air purifier. The machine had been making that same humming noise for hours, and he was tired of it. He was the only human technician on the entire base, surrounded by aliens who preferred to watch instead of help. Behind the glass wall, a group of alien scientists observed him. They were tall, graceful, with smooth blue skin and glowing silver eyes. Among them stood Lyra, a young alien researcher known for her calm, emotionless nature. She never raised her voice, never showed anger or joy. Her people, the Varans, were logical and distant. Feelings were something they rarely showed. Ethan sighed. "Done," he said, tightening the last bolt. He removed his helmet, not realizing that the air filter was still off. Warm air brushed against his face and tiny beads of sweat rolled down his neck. From across the room, Lyra suddenly froze. Her silver eyes widened slightly. The other scientists noticed her stillness. "What is it?" one of them asked. Lyra didn't answer. She blinked rapidly, her breathing growing faster. Her skin began to glow softly, first pale, then brighter, until her whole body shimmered faintly. Ethan turned, confused. "Hey, you okay?" he asked, but the words seemed to echo strangely in the silent lab. Lyra's gaze locked onto him. For a moment, it felt like time stopped. The other scientists took a step back, whispering in their language. Ethan frowned. "Did I do something wrong?" Before anyone could reply, the lab alarms began to beep. Sensors on the walls flashed red. Lyra's body temperature was spiking rapidly, her pulse going wild. She swayed, her hands trembling, and then she whispered a name. "Ethan." The sound was soft, almost a breath, but everyone heard it. The humans and aliens exchanged shocked looks. Lyra wasn't supposed to know his name. They had never even spoken before. "Ethan, stay back!" The alien medic shouted, rushing to Lyra's side. But when the medic tried to touch her, a burst of energy sparked from her skin, forcing him back. Lyra collapsed onto the floor, her eyes fluttering as she kept whispering the same word. His name. Ethan stood frozen. "What's happening to her?" No one answered. The alien commander barked orders and medical drones lifted Lyra onto a stretcher. "Take her to quarantine chamber 3, he shouted. "No one touches her without a containment suit." The doors closed behind them, leaving Ethan standing alone in the lab. His heart pounded in his chest. Sweat still dripped from his face. Everyone looked at him like he was the cause of something dangerous. Later, when the commander approached him, the man's tone was sharp. "Human, what did you release into the air?" "Nothing," Ethan said quickly. "I was just fixing the purifier. I didn't use any chemicals or radiation, I swear." But the commander didn't look convinced. "Then explain why her body reacted like that the moment you removed your helmet." Ethan had no answer. He sat in silence, staring through the glass window that showed the medical bay. Lyra lay motionless under bright lights. Machines scanned her, reading strange energy patterns that no one could explain. The scientists whispered among themselves. "It's not a toxin," one said. "Her biology is responding to something natural." Another one frowned. Her skin sensors went off right when she inhaled. The reaction started from scent. Scent? Ethan repeated the word in his head. Sweat? Could his body smell cause this? That made no sense. Hours passed. The base remained quiet, but everyone watched him with caution now. The human who made an alien girl collapse with just his presence. As the night cycle began, Ethan sat alone in his workshop. His tools lay untouched. His mind kept replaying that moment. Her glowing eyes, her trembling hands, her whisper, "Ethan." He had seen fear before. He had seen shock. But what he saw in her eyes wasn't either of those. It was something deeper, something like recognition. Across the glass corridor inside the medical bay, Lyra suddenly opened her eyes. The monitors beeped faster. She turned her head toward the wall, separating her from him. Through the glass, she could see his shadow moving under the dim light. Her lips parted slightly, and though no one else could hear, she whispered again, softly, like a secret only the stars could carry. "Why? Do you smell like home?" The lights in the bay flickered once, then went dark, and in that moment, Ethan knew, whatever had just begun, it was far bigger than either of them. When morning came on Vera 9, the base felt heavier than usual. Whispers filled the corridors. Everyone was talking about the same thing, how the alien girl, Lyra, had collapsed after the human engineer took off his helmet. Ethan Cole sat outside the medical bay, staring at the floor. He hadn't slept all night. His tools lay untouched beside him. A few alien guards stood nearby, keeping their distance. They didn't speak to him, but their eyes said everything. They didn't trust him anymore. Inside the glass chamber, Lyra lay on a soft white bed. Silver tubes glowed faintly beside her. She was breathing calmly now, but something strange kept happening. Every time Ethan walked close to the glass, her body sensors spiked. The monitors lit up like fireworks. When he stepped away, the numbers went down. The alien commander frowned at the data. "This is not normal," he muttered. "Her body reacts only when the human is near." Dr. Relin, the chief scientist of the Varen team, folded his arms. His deep blue skin shimmered in the bright light. "It's not a disease," he said slowly. "Her readings show no infection, no poison. It's biological resonance." "Resonance?" Ethan repeated. "You mean she's reacting to me?" Dr. Relin's silver eyes met his. "Yes, but not like you think. Her scent sensors, her internal receptors, are responding as if your presence activates something old inside her biology." Ethan blinked, confused. "That makes no sense. I'm just human. I'm not special." The doctor didn't reply. He turned to the monitor again and lowered his voice. "We can't let the Galactic Council find out. If they do, they'll take her away for experiments. We need to keep this quiet." Ethan frowned. "You're hiding it?" Relin looked him straight in the eye. "We're protecting her. And maybe protecting you too." Hours passed in silence. Ethan returned to his workshop, trying to focus on repairs. But his mind wouldn't stop thinking about Lyra. The image of her glowing skin and the sound of her whisper, his name, wouldn't leave his head. That night, while most of the crew slept, Ethan stayed in the hangar fixing a small drone. The only light came from his desk lamp. The hum of the machine was the only sound. Then, soft footsteps. He turned quickly. Standing in the doorway was Lyra. She was pale but steady. A faint silver glow still shimmered under her skin. She wore a white medical robe and her long hair framed her face like soft moonlight. "Lyra," Ethan said in shock. "You shouldn't be out of bed." She tilted her head slightly, studying him like she was seeing something familiar. "They said you're dangerous," she whispered. "But I don't feel danger." Ethan smiled nervously. "Yeah, well, that makes one of us." She took a slow step closer. The drone's sensors beeped wildly again. Her silver eyes glowed faintly as she breathed in the air around him. "It's the same scent," she said quietly. "The one from my dreams." Ethan frowned. "Dreams?" She nodded. "Since I was a child, I saw faces in my sleep. Humans. Always near fire, metal, and smoke. They were kind. Their scent made me feel safe. I thought it was just imagination. But when I smelled you, it all came back." Ethan didn't know what to say. "Lyra, that's strange. I mean, humans and your people never met before now." "It's impossible," she smiled faintly. "Then why does it feel true?" Before he could answer, the lab door slid open sharply. Dr. Relin rushed in, looking alarmed. "Lyra, you shouldn't be here." He looked at Ethan, then back at her. "You must rest," but Lyra shook her head. "You're hiding something, Doctor. I can see it in your eyes. You know what's happening to me." The room fell silent. The only sound was the faint hum of machines. Relin sighed deeply, looking old and tired. "Lyra, centuries ago, before your race left your homeworld, there were stories of another species, one with similar genetic code, but the records were erased. No one was supposed to know. Humans," Ethan said quietly. Relin didn't confirm, but he didn't deny either. "If this is what I think it is, your connection with him may be more than biological. It may be written in both your bloodlines." Lyra's expression softened. "Then this was not an accident." Relin lowered his voice. "No, and that's why you must not speak of it. The council would see this as a threat." Lyra turned toward Ethan, her voice calm but filled with quiet strength. "Maybe it's not a threat. Maybe it's a beginning." Before anyone could say another word, the base alarms flashed red again. An alert echoed through the speakers. "Unauthorized data transfer detected in genetics lab." Relin's eyes widened. "Someone knows," he whispered. Lyra looked toward Ethan, her voice trembling. "They're coming for us." The lights flickered and the mystery deepened. The scent that started it all was no longer just a strange reaction. It was the spark of something the galaxy had long tried to bury. Darkness filled the base on Vera 9 as warning lights blinked in red. The alarm from the genetics lab had stopped, but fear still lingered in every corridor. No one spoke openly, yet everyone knew something serious had been found. Ethan Cole couldn't sleep. His mind was full of questions about Lyra and what the doctor had said. Biological resonance, shared bloodlines. It all sounded impossible. Humans and Varans related? It made no sense. Still, something inside him whispered that the answer was buried somewhere in the station's old archives. So when midnight came, Ethan made a choice. He grabbed his portable terminal and slipped into the restricted data wing. The halls were empty, except for the soft hum of machines. He used his engineer's pass to open the archive room. Cold air brushed across his face. Rows of glowing data cylinders lined the walls, holding decades of alien records. He searched quietly, scrolling through files until one folder caught his eye. Project Echo Origin, classified by order of the Varan Council. Ethan opened it. Lines of alien text filled the screen. He activated the translator. The file spoke of a colony ship, one that vanished long ago carrying human and alien researchers during a joint exploration mission. The ship was lost near a storm zone and never recovered, but one note stood out. Genetic experiments confirmed human DNA adaptable to Varan biochemistry. Project terminated. Records erased. Ethan's heart pounded. This wasn't just science, it was history hidden from both species. He copied the data to a small drive, then deleted his access trace. Just as he turned to leave, he heard soft footsteps. Ethan? It was Lyra. She stood in the doorway, her eyes glowing softly in the dim light. He froze. Lyra, how did you find me? She smiled faintly. You left your communicator on. I followed the signal. What are you doing here? He hesitated. Looking for answers. He handed her the drive. And I think I found some. She took the drive and looked at the alien symbols. Her expression changed, half shock, half fear. This seal, it's from before our government existed. Before the wars, Ethan nodded. Your people erased the truth. Humans and Varans. We worked together once. Maybe even shared something deeper. Lyra's hands trembled slightly. I saw this in my dreams, she whispered. A ship burning in the sky. Voices calling out. One of them sounded like you. Ethan looked at her, puzzled. Like me? She nodded. Same tone. Same warmth. I thought it was fantasy, but maybe those memories were passed down through generations. Maybe we were never supposed to forget. Suddenly the door behind them slid open. Dr. Rellan rushed in, his face pale. You shouldn't be here. The council sent a message. They know someone accessed the archive. Ethan clenched his fists. Then tell them the truth. Tell them what we found. Rellan shook his head. It's not that simple. The council erased those files for a reason. If they learn about you and Lyra, they will not let either of you live. Lyra stepped forward. Why, Doctor? What are they so afraid of? He looked at her sadly. Because the last time humans and Varans tried to unite, it almost destroyed both worlds. The energy link between the two species was too strong. It caused chaos. Ethan frowned. Energy link? Rellan nodded. When a human and a Varan bond, even by accident, their bodies start to synchronize. Emotions, senses, even thoughts. That's what's happening to you two now. Lyra's voice softened. That's why I can feel him near me. Ethan turned to her. And why your body reacts when I'm close. Before Rellan could say more, the base lights flashed red again. A robotic voice filled the hall. Incoming transmission, Galactic Council enforcement vessel, docking in 5 minutes. Rellan's face turned grim. They're here for the data. And for you. Lyra looked toward Ethan, her silver eyes fierce with determination. Then we can't stay. Rellan hesitated, then handed Ethan a small metal card. There's an old tunnel beneath the base. It leads to an abandoned communications dome. Go there. Hide until I contact you. Ethan nodded. Come with us. But the doctor shook his head. If I leave, they'll know. Someone must stay to delay them. Now go. Lyra grabbed Ethan's hand. For a moment, their palms touched, and a soft wave of light rippled through the air around them. The machines flickered, responding to their connection. Ethan looked at her in shock. What was that? Lyra whispered, proof that we were never strangers. Together, they ran into the dark tunnels beneath the base as alarms echoed above. The truth they had found was powerful, too powerful for the galaxy to accept. And somewhere deep inside the shadows, the old machines of the Lost Project began to awaken again, as if recognizing the bloodlines of their creators. The past was no longer buried. It was rising. The tunnels under the Vera 9 base were cold and silent. Only the echo of footsteps broke the stillness as Ethan, Cole, and Lyra ran through the dark corridors. Dim blue lights glowed on the walls, guiding them toward the old communications dome that Dr. Relin had mentioned. Neither spoke for a long time. They could still hear distant alarms echoing above. The Galactic Council ship had arrived. The hunt had begun. When they reached the lower dome, Ethan sealed the door behind them and dropped to his knees, breathing hard. The dome was dusty and filled with old machines, equipment from a forgotten time. Lyra walked slowly around the room, touching the machines. Her fingertips left faint silver trails on the metal. These systems, they were made by both our species, she whispered. Half human technology, half Veran energy cores. Ethan looked at her, puzzled. How do you know that? I don't know, she said softly, closing her eyes. I just remember. The light around her hands grew brighter. One of the old machines suddenly powered up, humming weakly to life. The screens flickered, showing symbols that looked both human and alien. Ethan stood. What did you do? I don't know, she said again, her voice trembling. It's like the machine knows me. A voice came from behind them. It does. Ethan turned quickly. It was Dr. Relin, breathing hard, his clothes dusty but alive. You followed us? Ethan asked. I had to, the doctor said. The council knows about your connection. They're calling it a contamination event. They plan to erase both of you. Lyra's expression darkened. So we really are forbidden? Relin nodded. Centuries ago, when humans and Verans first met, our scientists tried to merge our DNA to create a stronger hybrid race. They believed unity could make us unstoppable. He walked closer to the glowing machine. This is one of the last devices from that experiment, Project Genesis. Ethan frowned. And what happened to it? The experiment failed, Relin said quietly. The hybrids didn't survive. Their energy signatures became unstable. The council destroyed everything connected to it and made a law. Never again should our species mix. Lyra's eyes shimmered with sadness. But the code still lives in me. Relin nodded. Yes, you are a descendant of those early hybrids. And when you smelled Ethan's scent, his human energy, your body recognized it. The link inside you reawakened. Ethan took a step back, stunned. So, she's reacting because she carries part of human DNA? Exactly, Relin said. And your presence completes that code. The machines around them started to hum louder. The dome lights brightened until the walls shone white-blue. Lyra's glow matched the same color. Ethan shielded his eyes. What's happening? Relin stared at the screen. The system is detecting her DNA pattern. It's syncing with you. The project is activating itself again. On the screen, strange symbols appeared, forming words in both human and Veran language. Two become one. The link restored. Lyra gasped as waves of energy surrounded her. Her eyes turned silver white. Ethan rushed to her side, catching her before she fell. Her voice was faint. I can see them. The first ones. Humans and Verans working together. They weren't trying to play gods, they were trying to save each other. Relin's face was pale. Her memory is awakening. The genetic code is passing through her mind. Ethan looked desperate. Can we stop it? Relin hesitated. No, but maybe we shouldn't. Maybe this was meant to happen again. The base's communication console suddenly activated. A deep voice echoed through the speakers. Attention, all personnel. This is the Galactic Council enforcement. Evacuate immediately. Containment strike begins in 10 minutes, Ethan's jaw tightened. They're going to destroy the base. Lyra stood weakly, glowing brighter now. Then we must leave. But not without the truth. She pointed to the machine. There's a full record inside. Proof that humans and Verans once worked together to save both worlds. If we can send this data, the galaxy will know. Ethan ran to the console. The transmitter is offline. The dish was destroyed long ago. Relin looked toward the ceiling. There's one still working on the ridge outside. But it's exposed. You'll never reach it in time. Ethan smirked slightly. We'll see about that. He turned to Lyra. Can you move? She nodded. I can feel strength flowing again. The link helps me. Relin handed them a small data chip. Take this. It holds the truth. Go before they reach you. They ran toward the emergency tunnel. Behind them, the dome's machines pulsed brighter and brighter, as if waking from a long sleep. As they reached the surface, the ground trembled under the roar of descending ships. Blue searchlights cut through the fog. Lyra turned to Ethan, her eyes glowing like stars. "They call it forbidden," she said softly. "But maybe it was destiny." Ethan smiled, gripping her hand. "Then let's make history repeat itself." They sprinted into the mist, carrying the secret the galaxy tried to erase, and behind them, deep underground, the ancient machine whispered its final words in 2 languages at once. The experiment never failed. It was waiting to be finished. The storm clouds above Vera 9 rumbled like angry beasts. Lightning cracked across the sky as Ethan, Cole, and Lyra ran across the rocky ground toward the communication ridge. The wind was harsh, the air thin, and the world around them glowed faintly blue under the alien sky. Behind them, the Galactic Council's ships landed near the base. Dozens of lights cut through the fog as armored soldiers spread out. Their orders were simple: find the human and the glowing alien girl, and erase every trace of what they had discovered. Lyra stumbled but caught herself quickly. Energy flickered under her skin like silver fire. "They're too close," she said breathlessly. "They'll see us soon." Ethan looked over his shoulder. "Then we keep moving." They reached a small cliff overlooking the base. From there, they could see everything: the soldiers surrounding the dome, drones scanning the tunnels, and among them, Dr. Relin being dragged by guards. He was shouting something, but the wind carried his words away. Lyra's eyes widened. "They captured him." Ethan clenched his fists. "He helped us. We can't leave him," she looked torn. "If we go back, we'll lose the chance to send the data." Ethan's jaw tightened. "Then we'll do both." He looked around and spotted a narrow slope leading toward the power conduits on the base's west side. "If we cut the power there, their scanners will go offline for a few minutes. You can use that time to reach the transmitter." Lyra frowned. "And you?" "I'll get the doctor," he said. She hesitated. "They'll shoot you on sight." He smiled slightly. "Yeah, well, they'll have to hit me first." Before she could argue, he ran down the slope and disappeared into the mist. Lyra took a deep breath and touched the glowing crystal embedded in her wrist. Her body shimmered faintly as she began to run toward the communication ridge. Every few steps, her senses expanded. She could feel the energy of the soldiers, the hum of their weapons, even the pulse of the old transmitter calling to her like an echo from the past. Meanwhile, Ethan reached the outer wall of the base. The lights flickered and shadows danced on the metallic floor. He crawled between broken panels, avoiding the patrols. He found Relin tied beside a generator, guarded by 2 alien soldiers in gray armor. Ethan waited, holding a metal pipe like a weapon. When one guard turned away, he threw the pipe with all his strength. It hit the wall, making a loud clang. The guards turned instantly. Ethan jumped from the shadows, tackling one of them. They rolled across the floor. The alien tried to raise his weapon, but Ethan slammed his elbow into the soldier's chest, knocking the wind out of him. The second guard fired, the laser hitting the wall inches from Ethan's head. Sparks flew everywhere. Ethan grabbed the fallen guard's blaster and fired once. The second soldier fell, stunned. Relin looked at him in disbelief. "You came back for me?" "Couldn't leave you behind," Ethan said, cutting his restraints. "We need to get to Lyra." Relin nodded weakly. "She's going to the transmitter, isn't she?" "Yeah." Relin's expression darkened. "Then she'll need more time." The council placed a security shield around it. "Only someone with an access key can disable it, and I have one." Ethan grinned. "Then let's move." They sprinted through the corridors, alarms echoing all around. As they reached the exit tunnel, the floor shook violently. Outside, Lyra stood before the old transmitter tower, her hand pressed against the control panel. Her glow was bright enough to light the entire ridge. Energy surged from her fingertips into the console, awakening the ancient system. Screens flickered alive, showing the words, "Connection unstable. Transmitting in 30 seconds." Then the voice of the council's commander thundered through the comms. "Stop her! She carries forbidden code." Several drones flew toward her, weapons charged. Ethan and Relin appeared at the base of the ridge just as the drones opened fire. Ethan shouted, "Lyra!" She turned. Her eyes glowed pure silver. She raised her hands and a wave of energy exploded outward, deflecting the blasts. The drone spun out of control and crashed into the rocks below. Ethan reached her side. We need to finish the upload now. Relin inserted his key into the main port. The console beeped. Shield disabled. Transmission ready, Lyra nodded. Then let the galaxy see the truth. She pressed her glowing palm against the panel. The transmitter flared to life, sending a beam of light straight into the sky. The data chip's message, proof of humanity's and Veyron's shared past, was being sent to every major network across the stars. But their victory was short-lived. Above them, a massive shadow descended, the Council's flagship. Its cannons aimed directly at the ridge. Relin's eyes widened. They're going to fire! Ethan pulled Lyra close. Run! The ground shook violently as a beam of blue light struck the cliffside. Rocks exploded. The transmitter tower shattered into pieces. For a moment, everything went silent, then dust filled the air. Ethan coughed, pushing debris off his chest. Lyra, doctor! He looked around desperately. The tower was gone. The signal had stopped. Or so he thought. High above, through the clouds, a faint streak of light continued across the sky, still transmitting. The data had escaped before the blast. Ethan smiled weakly, relief in his eyes. You did it, he whispered. Far away, the stars began to shimmer with new signals, proof that the truth could no longer be buried. The dust slowly settled over the shattered ridge. Smoke rose from the broken transmitter tower. The air smelled of burnt metal and ozone. Ethan Cole lay half-buried under rubble, his suit torn and his face covered in ash. Every breath hurt, but he forced himself to move. Lyra, he whispered hoarsely. His voice echoed weakly in the silence. No answer came. Only the faint hum of the destroyed machines and the distant sound of thunder filled the air. Ethan pushed a heavy metal panel off his chest and crawled forward. The ground was cracked, glowing faintly blue where Lyra's energy had touched it before the explosion. Lyra, he shouted again, then he heard it, a soft trembling sound, a breath. He turned quickly and saw a faint silver glow beneath the debris. Heart pounding, he began digging with his bare hands until he uncovered her. Lyra lay still, her skin dimly glowing, her face peaceful but pale. Her pulse was weak, yet there was something strange. Tiny threads of light ran along her veins like living fire. Hey, stay with me, Ethan said, lifting her head gently. You did it. You sent the signal. Her eyes fluttered open. Did they see it? She whispered. He nodded. Yes, you did it, Lyra. The truth is out there now. A faint smile touched her lips. Then maybe it was worth it. But before he could reply, the ground shook again. From the sky, the Galactic Council's flagship hovered lower, engines roaring like thunder. Dozens of soldiers descended, surrounding the ridge. Ethan gritted his teeth. They're not giving up. Lyra sat up weakly, her body still glowing faintly. They'll destroy everything. Even us, he helped her stand. Then we make sure they can't. The soldiers aimed their weapons. One of them shouted through a speaker, "Surrender now. You are under arrest for violating the interspecies protection laws." Ethan raised his hand slowly, glaring at them. You mean for discovering the truth? Before they could answer, a new voice echoed from the ridge behind him. It was Dr. Relin, limping, his clothes torn but alive. He held a data core glowing with blue light. You fools, Relin shouted. You can destroy the tower, but the transmission already reached half the colonies. The secret is out. The soldiers froze. The commander on the ship above paused as well. Relin looked at Ethan and Lyra. You two, your bond awakened something ancient. The machines are responding across the planet. Lyra frowned. Responding? Relin pointed toward the horizon. Look. Far in the distance, lights began to rise from the ground. Giant towers buried deep under the planet's surface, reactivating one by one. The same technology as the Forbidden Experiment, powered by both human and Veyron energy signatures. Lyra's body started to glow brighter in response. Her energy pulsed with each tower that lit up. Ethan looked at her with worry. What's happening to you? She closed her eyes. It's like they're calling me. The machines remember me. They're waking up. Relin's voice was tense. It's the Genesis network. It's responding to your DNA. You've triggered the world's ancient core. Suddenly, a wave of energy burst from Lyra, pushing back the soldiers. The sky turned white for a moment and everyone fell to their knees. Ethan rushed to her side. Lyra, control it. I can't, she cried, holding her head. It's too strong. Her body began to shine like a small star. and strange symbols appeared around her, spinning rings of light and sound. Ethan reached out, grabbing her hand. "Listen to me," he shouted. "You're not alone. I'm right here." The energy calmed slightly but still rumbled beneath the ground. Through the glowing mist, Lyra looked at him.
"Ethan, when I see you, I see the past."
"Humans saved us once long ago. Now maybe it's my turn to save you." He shook his head. "No, we do this together." At that moment, the council commander gave the order. "Fire." A beam of blue light shot from the ship toward them. Ethan wrapped his arms around Lyra instinctively. The beam hit, but instead of burning them, the energy split apart, bending around them like water around a rock. Lyra's power surged, protecting them both. The same wave spread outward, knocking out the council ship's engines. It spiraled and crashed into the valley below. For a long moment, there was silence. Only the sound of the wind and the crackle of fading energy filled the air. Lyra collapsed into Ethan's arms, her glow slowly fading. "You saved us," he said softly. She smiled weakly. "No, we saved each other." Dr. Rellin approached slowly, staring at the distant tower still glowing in the horizon. "It's not over," he said. "What she awakened will change everything. The old machines were meant to rebuild worlds. If the council learns to control them again." Ethan looked down at Lyra, who was barely conscious now. "Then we stop them first," Rellin nodded. "The final tower is in the Central Valley. If we reach it before the council's reinforcements, we can control the network." Ethan lifted Lyra in his arms and looked toward the glowing horizon. "Then that's where we go." As they walked into the mist, the stars above flickered like eyes watching them, ancient, silent, and waiting. The awakening had begun. The sun rose slowly over Vera 9, casting golden light across the broken land. Smoke drifted from the crashed council ship behind them, and the sky shimmered with the glow of awakening towers. The once silent planet now pulsed with life, alive again after centuries of sleep. Ethan Cole walked through the rough terrain, carrying Lyra carefully in his arms. Her body still glowed faintly, her skin warm with energy. Dr. Rellin followed close behind, limping, holding the last remaining datacore tight to his chest. They had one goal left: reach the Central Valley Tower, the heart of the Genesis network. If they could activate it before the Council regained control, the truth would spread across the galaxy forever. The path ahead was quiet, except for the wind. Broken structures jutted from the ground like ancient bones. After a long silence, Ethan spoke. "How far, Doctor?" "Not far," Rellin said. "Just beyond that ridge. But the energy readings are unstable. If the tower activates before we reach it, the entire valley could collapse." Ethan tightened his grip on Lyra. "Then we move faster." When they reached the ridge, they stopped and stared. Below them stood the largest structure they had ever seen. The central tower rose like a mountain of light, surrounded by swirling energy fields. Beams of silver and gold reached into the sky, connecting to the smaller towers across the horizon. Lyra opened her eyes weakly and whispered, "It's beautiful." Ethan smiled. "You did this?" She shook her head softly. "No, we did this. The tower is waiting for both of us. It needs human and Varen energy together." Before Ethan could answer, a deep rumble filled the air. Above them, 3 new ships appeared, sleek, black, and marked with the Council's emblem. Soldiers poured out, forming a perimeter around the valley. Rellin's eyes widened. They brought reinforcements. Hundreds of them. Ethan glanced down at Lyra. "Can you still walk?" She nodded weakly, taking his hand. "As long as you don't let go." Together, they made their way down the slope, using the rocks for cover. Energy blasts hit the ground around them. The soldiers shouted commands, but the earth itself began to fight back, the ground glowing and shaking as the ancient network resisted their attack. Lyra reached out with her glowing hand, and the light around her pulsed stronger. The machines responded instantly. Walls of shimmering energy rose from the valley floor, blocking the soldiers' path. Rellin gasped. "She's linked to the planet now. It listens to her." They ran through the chaos until they reached the base of the great tower. A massive door of light stood before them. Symbols from both human and Varen languages spun across its surface. Ethan placed his hand on the door. It hummed but did not open. Lyra stepped beside him, her hand trembling. "Together," she whispered. He nodded. They both pressed their palms against the door. A surge of power flashed around them. The symbols glowed brighter, merging into one unified language. A message neither of them could read, yet both could understand. Connection restored. Harmony achieved. The door opened silently. Inside, the heart of the tower pulsed like a living star. Energy flowed upward in columns showing images from the past. Humans and Varans working together, building cities, sharing laughter, and protecting one another. Relin stepped forward slowly, his eyes full of tears. This is who we were. Lyra's voice trembled. They called it forbidden, but it was never wrong. Suddenly, the council commander's voice echoed from outside the tower. Stop now or we destroy everything. Ethan turned toward the doorway. They're bluffing. No, Relin said gravely. They'll do it. They fear what this truth will bring. Lyra looked at Ethan, her eyes glowing brighter than ever. Then it's time the galaxy stops living in fear. She reached for his hand. Will you trust me? He smiled faintly. Always. Together they stepped into the center of the chamber. Their hands intertwined, their energies merged, and a bright aura surrounded them both. The tower responded instantly, roaring to life. Outside, soldiers froze as light poured from the tower and raced across the planet. The other towers joined in, sending waves of energy into the sky. The message of truth, the memory of unity, was being broadcast across every world. In space, communication satellites blinked to life. Screens across thousands of planets showed the same vision, humans and Varans side by side sharing the same heartbeat. The Council's ship tried to fire one last shot, but the beam dissolved in midair. The planet itself rejected the attack. Inside the tower, Ethan and Lyra stood in a sea of light. She looked up at him and smiled softly. The universe will remember now. He squeezed her hand. Then we finally did it. Her body began to fade into silver light, her energy becoming one with the network. Lyra, wait. Ethan cried, but she smiled peacefully. Don't be sad. I'm not gone. I'm everywhere now. In the air, in the stars, in every world that remembers us. The light surrounded her completely, then spread outward, filling the room with warmth and silence. When the glow faded, Ethan stood alone, but not truly alone. Her voice lingered in the air. You woke me, and I woke them. He looked toward the sky. The towers still shone brightly, their light reaching beyond the planet. A promise that the truth would never die again. And for the first time in centuries, humans and aliens looked at one another not as enemies, but as family reborn. The truth had changed everything.